They say coaching matters more in football than any other sport. One can easily argue that, but in many cases, a coach is only as good as his assistants and coordinators. So here are our rankings for all 32 NFL defensive coordinators for 2020 from worst to first. Number 32, Josh Boyer, Miami Dolphins. Boyer served as the Dolphins' cornerback coach and passing game coordinator under head coach Brian Flores last season, and he was promoted to defensive coordinator for the 2020 season. Nothing against Boyer, but he has no prior experience as a DC, and the Fins had the league's worst scoring defense a year ago, allowing a 30.9 points per game. It's hard to give Boyer the benefit of the doubt. It's gonna take some time to rebuild this defense. Number 31, Patrick Graham, New York Giants. Graham was the defensive coordinator for the aforementioned Dolphins' awful defense in 2019, but he left after 1 year to serve as the coordinator for new Giants head coach Joe Judge. Yes, Graham had some success under Bill Belichick in Foxborough, so have dozens of other assistant coaches, but he didn't get the job done in Miami, and we wish him luck in making it work with this talent-deprived Giants defense. Number 30, Phil Snow, Carolina Panthers. New head coach Matt Baylor hired Snow, whom he worked with at Temple and Baylor, to take over as Carolina's DC. The Panthers spent all their 2020 draft picks on defensive players, but they lost superstar linebacker Luke Kuechly to retirement. In other words, it'll take a while for Snow to build this defense, and for him to show that he's a capable coordinator at the NFL level. Number 29, Lou Anarumo, Cincinnati Bengals. 2019 marked Anarumo's first full season as an NFL DC. He was the Dolphins' interim guy in the 2015 season. We know the Bengals are rebuilding, so we won't fault him too much for the team's awful defending in 2019. This unit will take some time to rebuild, and who knows if Zach Taylor will keep Anarumo around much longer if he doesn't improve soon. It's hard to give him a higher ranking here. Number 28, Anthony Weaver, Houston Texans. Weaver was the team's defensive line coach from 2016 to 2019 before earning the promotion to defensive coordinator. Obviously, he did good things with J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, and Whitney Merciless, but can he fix a woeful secondary that's gotten worse and worse with each year? If so, these Texans may emerge as a true Super Bowl contender in 2020. Number 27, Joe Woods, Cleveland Browns. Woods can only fare better than Steve Wilkes, the man he's replacing in the land with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward in the fold. Woods has no excuses. His unit should be near the middle of the pack in most major categories, simple as that. Number 26, Brandon Staley, Los Angeles Rams. Staley replaces the legendary Wade Phillips, but even with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, he has his work cut out for him. The Rams lost so many key starters from last year, namely Dante Fowler Jr., Corey Littleton, and Eric Weddle. So yeah, good luck to Staley on getting it done with this group. Number 25, Mike Nolan, Dallas Cowboys. A little surprising that new head coach Mike McCarthy decided to overhaul the Cowboys defensive coaching staff. We have no idea what to expect from Mike Nolan, which is why we placed him low. Hopefully, he doesn't waste the talented front seven that includes DeMarcus Lawrence, Jalen Smith, and Leighton Vander Esch. Number 24, Jim Haslett, Tennessee Titans. The former Saints head coach replaces Dean Pease, who retired after taking the Titans to the AFC Championship game. The uncertainty around Haslett and his ability to replace Pease forced us to keep him low on this list, but he could make a significant move up in our rankings in a year's time. Number 23, Paul Guenther, Las Vegas Raiders. Guenther had some success as the Bengals DC from 2014 to 2017, but the Raiders defense hasn't done much of anything under his guidance. They were 32nd in scoring defense in 2018 and 24th last season. John Gruden and Mike Mayock spent a lot of money to upgrade that unit in the offseason. If it doesn't improve in 2020, Guenther probably won't be around come 2021. Number 22, Cory Undlin, Detroit Lions. This is Undlin's first defensive coordinator gig in the NFL. He spent 5 seasons as a defensive backs coach for the Eagles, winning Super Bowl 52 with them. He was also on staff for the Patriots Super Bowl 39 championship in the 2004 season. Undlin was also the DB's coach for the 2013 Denver Broncos team that reached Super Bowl 48. His rather impressive resume and championship experience is why we placed him higher than the other newbie coordinators. Number 21, Ken Norton Jr., Seattle Seahawks. Norton simply hasn't cut it as the Seahawks DC so far. The unit has taken drastic steps back in the post-LOB era. This team was awful in every major category last year. Sacks, against the pass, scoring, you name it. Pete Carroll is always patient with his assistants, but you have to think that 2020 is a make-or-break year for Norton as the team's DC. Number 20, Vance Joseph, Arizona Cardinals. Joseph flopped as the Denver Broncos head coach in 2017 and and 2018. His first season as the Cardinals defensive coordinator didn't go so well either, as they allowed the most yards per game. But he did endure successful stints as the Texans and Bengals defensive backs coach between 2011 and 2015. And in 2016, he led the Dolphins to a postseason berth as their defensive coordinator, which is why he earns a not so terrible ranking here. Number 19, Matt Eberflus, Indianapolis Colts. The Colts defense has been pretty mediocre with Eberflus, hence the mediocre ranking we gave him. Nothing too flashy about this group other than Darius Leonard's immediate rise to superstardom. Although, this youthful unit could reach a top 10 level following the addition of DeForest Buckner. Number 18, Ed Donatell, Denver Broncos. After a slow start, Donatell's defense slowly came together in the second half of last season. They had the 10th best scoring defense, and it should be even better with the return of Bradley Chubb, plus the additions of Jarrell Casey and AJ Boye. So there's a very good chance that Donatell places much higher on these rankings a year from now. Number 17, Andre Patterson and Adam Zimmer, Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings always have a good defense under Mike Zimmer, but we don't know what to expect of the Andre Patterson-Adam Zimmer duo. Both have had roles in Minnie's coaching staff since 2014, so they have plenty of experience working with the stout defensive unit. It will be interesting to see how they manage all those significant offseason departures though. Number 16, Raheem Morris, Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons defense enjoyed a big-time turnaround in the second half, after Morris was promoted to the position of secondary coach. So Dan Quinn handed him the keys to the defensive coordinator role for 2020. Hard to overlook Morris's impressive work with the Falcons defensive backs last year, and he was on the staff for the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl 37 championship team. His resume is just enough to place him in the top half of our rankings. Number 15, Todd Wash, Jacksonville Jaguars. Wash's defense took Jacksonville all the way to the 2017 AFC Championship game, but the unit has taken a step back over the last 2 years. That has more to do with the awful front office management and locker room drama than Wash, however. If you ask us, Wash deserves more time to rebuild this unit that now consists of future stars in Josh Allen, Clavon Chason, and CJ Henderson. Number 14, Greg Williams, New York Jets. Williams didn't have as much success as the defensive coordinator for the Rams or the Browns, but the Jets defense was actually very solid under his leadership in 2019. But he'll be challenged with star safety Jamal Adams gone and with Pro Bowl linebacker CJ Mosley opting out of the season. Number 13, Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bowles had a solid first year as the Bucs DC. They placed inside the top 10 for defensive sacks with 47, and they had top rushing defense, allowing only 73.8 yards on the ground per game. Never mind the large amount of points scored, that was due in large part to Jameis Winston's 30 interceptions. Number 12, Jack Del Rio, Washington Football Team. Del Rio and Ron Rivera should do wonders together in Washington. Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kerrigan, Darren Payne, Mont Sweat, and Matthew Ioannidis give them a loaded front seven to work with. It's going to take some time, but Del Rio's had some success as a coach and a coordinator at the NFL level. We're not doubting his ability to turn things around in DC. Number 11, Chuck Pagano, Chicago Bears. Pagano actually did a fine job replacing Vic Fangio as the Bears DC in 2019. They took a step back, sure, but the club still ranked 4th in scoring and 8th in yards. Khalil Mack is due for a bounce back year, and Robert Quinn adds even more juice to that dangerous pass rush. Should be another fine year for Pagano and the Bears defense in 2020. Number 10, Gus Bradley, Los Angeles Chargers. Bradley simply didn't cut it as the Jaguars head coach, but his resume as a defensive coordinator has been nothing short of excellent. He was the DC in the early stages in the Legion of Boom era in Seattle, and he has quickly turned the Chargers defense into one of the NFL's elite units. Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Desmond King, and Casey Hayward have all developed into superstars under Bradley. His unit will make this Chargers team a playoff contender for many years to come. Number 9, Mike Pettin, Green Bay Packers. Smart call by head coach Matt LaFleur to keep Mike Pettin on as the Packers defensive coordinator. Green Bay won 13 games and reached the NFC title game despite a frustrating and inconsistent performance from the offense. That success was largely based on the work of Patton's defense, anchored by the dynamic duo of Za'Darius and Preston Smith, plus a young and talented secondary. The Packers D should keep them in title contention for the remainder of the Aaron Rodgers era. No reason to think they can't be even more dominant in 2020. Number 8, Jim Schwartz, Philadelphia Eagles. Schwartz places high in our rankings mainly because of his contributions to the Eagles' Super Bowl 52 championship team. This man has built a phenomenal pass rush led by Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, and the secondary has been stout under his leadership. If the Eagles' D remains a top-tier unit, who knows? Schwartz could be in line for another head coaching gig. Number 7. Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints. The Saints defense continues to get better and better under Allen. His group has placed inside the top 15 in each of the last 3 years after placing 32nd and 31st in 2015 and 2016, respectively. Allen has helped Cameron Jordan take his game to another level, and youngsters Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus Williams have quickly emerged as stars. Under Allen, these are no longer the defensively inept Saints that we're used to seeing. Number 6. Keith Butler, Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers' defense has gradually gotten better under Butler, but 2019 was his best work yet. The team finished in sacks with 54, 5th in scoring defense, and 5th in yards allowed. Not to mention that the Steelers have 2 legitimate Defensive Player of the Year candidates in TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick. If Butler keeps this performance up, he could land a head coaching gig real soon. Number 5. Leslie Frazier, Buffalo Bills. Without Frazier, the Bills probably don't make the playoffs in 2019. His unit finished 2nd in scoring defense last season, allowing just 16.2 points per game and 3rd in yards allowed. This unit will make the Bills playoff contenders for many years to come. Bank on it. Number 4. Steve Spagnuolo, Kansas City Chiefs. Spagnuolo earned his 2nd Super Bowl ring as a defensive coordinator last season. He inherited a pretty terrible unit that cost the Chiefs a Super Bowl appearance in 2018 and quickly turned them into a top-tier defense. What a job he did with the likes of Tyrann Mathieu, Juan Thornhill, Frank Clark, and Chris Jones. Looks like an upgrade at defensive coordinator was all this team really needed to finally end its half-century-long Super Bowl drought. Number 3. Robert Saleh, San Francisco 49ers. What a turnaround it was for Saleh's unit in 2019. They finished 2nd in yards allowed and 8th in scoring D, thanks to a resilient pass rush and a stout secondary led by all-pro corner Richard Sherman. The 49ers' stingy D was a half a quarter away from guiding this team to a Super Bowl 54 title. But it's all good. Saleh's unit will keep them in championship contention for a long time. Number 2. Don Wink Martindale, Baltimore Ravens. Martindale was promoted to DC in 2018. The Ravens finished 2nd in scoring defense that year and 3rd in 2019. Not bad at all. His blitz-happy scheme works so well because he has a star-studded secondary that can hold the fort when it's time to bring the heat. No team blitzed more in 2019 than the Ravens. Lamar Jackson earned most of the attention last season, but the Ravens wouldn't have won 14 games without that ferocious shutdown defense. Number 1. Bill Belichick, New England Patriots. The best NFL coach of all time is also the greatest defensive tactician ever. His defense is a top 10 unit pretty much every single year. In 2019, they had the league's best scoring D, anchored by Defensive Player of the Year Stephon Gilmore. Unless Belichick hands a DC role to someone else, he'll always occupy the top spot on this list. That's just how it is. But hey, what changes would you make to our NFL defensive coordinator rankings? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learn a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.